CCP's Deception of the World. On April 23, 1942, Chiang Kai-shek, through his wife Song Mi-ling, published an article, As the Way I See It, in the New York Times, proposing the abolition of all foreign privileges in China. This time it received a positive response from US President Roosevelt. On October 9, US Undersecretary of State Wells and British Foreign Secretary Aden handed the Chinese ambassador to the US Wei Daoming, and the British ambassador Guo Weijun sent a notice on the abolition of consular jurisdiction and related privileges in China, respectively. On the following day, the double 10th National Day of the Republic of China, Britain and the United States simultaneously announced the abolition of the unequal treaties in China, and thereafter China, the United States and Britain negotiated in Chongqing on the conclusion of new treaties. On January 11, 1943, Chinese Ambassador Wei Daoming and US Secretary of State Hull signed the treaty and exchange of notes between China and the United States on the abolition of the extraterritoriality of the United States in China and the handling of related questions, or the Sino-American New Treaty in Washington. On the same day, representative of the national government Song tzu-wen and British representatives Xue Mu and Li Jisheng signed the Sino-British Treaty on the abolition of British extraterritoriality in China and related privileges, referred to as the Sino-British New Treaty in Chongqing. The main contents of these two treaties are: the United States and the United Kingdom simultaneously revoke their extraterritorial jurisdiction in China. The United States and the United Kingdom revoke the 1901 Treaty of Xinchou and terminate all rights granted to the United States and the United Kingdom by the treaty and its annexes. The United States and the United Kingdom terminate the rights enjoyed by the United States and the United Kingdom inside the embassy boundaries of Beijing and the public concessions of Shanghai and Xiamen, and assist the Chinese government in recovering the administrative rights in these areas. The United Kingdom also returns the concessions of Tianjin and Guangzhou. The United States and Britain give up the rights concerning the system of ports of commerce in China. The rights concerning the system of special courts in the public concessions of Shanghai and Xiamen, the rights concerning the employment of foreign pilots in the ports of commerce within the territory of China. The privileges of ships of the two countries in coastal trade and inland navigation within the territorial waters of China, and the privileges of warships of the two countries to sail within the territorial waters of China, etc. Look at this. Mr. Chiang Kai-shek has done a great job, right? Everyone turns their head and then looks at the CCP to send millions of square kilometers of land to the Soviet Union, North Korea, Vietnam communist governments, and so on. The traitorous behavior made China's original begonia leaf-shaped territory deformed into a thin rooster. It is simply unbearable. The only thing that is a little regrettable is that Britain did not return the outstanding leasehold land to Hong Kong and Kowloon. Looking back, according to the CCP, they first issued a 50-year unchanged Hong Kong system of the mouth, only 20 years to break the contract to slap their own mouth. Suppress the 7 million people of Hong Kong, destroy the Pearl of the Orient, the people of Hong Kong disguised to enjoy 99 years of human rights for this. It is also considered to be a blessing in disguise. Soon, Brazil, Canada, Norway, the Netherlands, and Argentina also negotiated new treaties with China and renounced their privileges in China. At this point, the government of the Republic of China has basically recovered its extraterritoriality. In this regard, President Chiang announced with great excitement at the Double 10 National Day ceremony that year, "The unequal treaties that our country has been bound for 100 years can now be basically lifted. The will of the founding father to lift the unequal treaties has been fully realized. Our compatriots, from this day forward, should be extraordinarily vigorous and self-reliant." At this point, you may review that the historian Mr. Xin Haonian gave a speech entitled, "Who is the New China?" The fact that the government of the Republic of China has recovered its extraterritoriality and other rights proves that the Communist Party's claim that all unequal treaties were abrogated after 1949 is just a cover-up. It was the nationalist government under the leadership of Chiang who really made the modern Chinese stand tall in front of the world. And it was the heroic war of the nationalist army fighting against Japanese invasion which made the world realize once again that the Chinese nation is an indomitable nation. Let's look at customs control and tariff autonomy again. According to the recollection of Zhang Fuyun, a Harvard graduate and former director of the nationalist government's customs administration, the main reason why China temporarily gave up its customs control and tariff autonomy was that it was unfamiliar with the rules of international trade at the time, in addition to its weakened national fortunes. The Qing government agreed to a 5% tariff on imported goods at the time of the Treaty of Nanjing in 1842. In this way, China's tariff autonomy was ceded, and other unequal treaties and most favored nation treaties followed, making this treatment available to other countries. Let's look at the professional interpretation of Mr. Guo Weidong, a professor of history at Peking University, in his article, The Sino-British After Dealing in the Late Opium War. On August 29, 1842, the Treaty of Nanking was signed. This was followed by more than a year of negotiations between China and Britain on how to deal with the aftermath, which resulted in the inclusion of the new treaty of provisions not found in the Treaty of Nanking, such as consular jurisdiction, unilateral MFN treatment, agreed tariffs, foreign warships mooring in Chinese harbours, and British privileges in China. As is well known, these privileges subsequently became the model that all invading countries were bound to share when making unequal treaties with China, and thus constituted the most basic framework for unequal treaty relations in modern China. Professor Guo writes that the Treaty of Human, which provided for consuls to bind foreign sailors and guarantee foreign merchant ships to pay taxes on their behalf, set a precedent for British consular intervention in Chinese customs administration. Thirdly, the rare 5% tax rate, which has long been one of the lowest tax rates in the world, has caused the dumping of foreign goods and loss of protection for the national economy. The 26 categories and more than 160 types of goods were fixed in the form of an agreement, thus in effect losing the right to change the tax rules individually. The oddity is that since the Qing government was unfamiliar with foreign merchants and companies, it commissioned the British consul Li Thai to create a customs office to collect import duties on foreign goods. Originally, the Qing government intended to send a Chinese person to set up the customs, but was rejected by Wen Xiang, the Minister of Household Affairs, on the grounds that Chinese people would enrich their own pockets by corruption. The customs office was handed over to foreigners, which shows how weak the late Qing Dynasty was. Although the Englishman Li Thai built the customs house for the Qing government, it was his successor, Hurd, who arrived in 1863 and created the Chinese customs in modern sense. It played an important role for decades from the late Qing Dynasty until 1949, even during the Japanese invasion. Under Hurd's presidency, the Chinese customs became an internationally recognized clean and efficient institution and served as a guarantee that the government from the late Qing to the Republic could obtain Western loans. The Treaty of Shimonoseki and the Treaty of Shinchao, i.e. Boxer Protocol, signed after the Sino-Japanese War in 1895, forced the Qing government to borrow money from foreign countries using customs revenue as collateral to repay the huge war reparations. This function involved the customs in the domestic monetary system and gave the general tax collector of customs a considerable say in domestic affairs. After the collapse of the Qing government, in order to maintain the international reputation and to continue to repay foreign war reparations and loans, the Beiyang government of the Republic of China authorized Anglian, who was then the chief tax collector, to remain in charge of customs. By the way, Chief Taxation Officer is not a customary name of an institution nowadays, but an official title. The Englishman Anglian was the third foreign chief tax collector of modern Chinese customs, after Li Thai and Herder. Between 1911 and 1928, all of China's customs duties, excluding necessary customs operating expenses, were given to an international banking commission in Shanghai, which represented the interests of foreign creditors in China. Only the remainder, after payment of reparations and loans, etc., was given to the national government by the General Taxation Department. And until these payments were made, the customs duties were held in trust at the HSBC Bank in England. The customs revenue was difficult to fill with the huge amount of Gunzi reparations before it was suspended in 1938. The Republican government had to use part of the standing customs duty, i.e. transit tax. This allowed the British Chief Commissioner of Customs to gain more power and independence. Although there were many Chinese employees in customs, no Chinese made it to the position of Deputy Commissioner of Customs until 1927. During Chiang's northern expedition in 1926, the national government declared customs autonomy and established the customs administration under the Ministry of Finance to receive and manage customs affairs. In 1927, the national government was established in Nanjing after the successful northern expedition. At that time, despite having controlled most of the provinces, the balance of customs tariff was still controlled by the General Taxation Department of Customs of the northern government. Under the advice and operation of the then Commissioner of Customs, Zhang Fuyun, customs was eventually incorporated into the management system of the ROC government. The methods adopted by Director General Zhang were, in collaboration with the Chief Commissioner of Customs Mei Lehe, to reform the customs, to stop recruiting foreign personnel, to make Chinese and foreign employees equal in rights and duties, to pay Chinese and foreign employees equally for the same work, to appoint a Chinese person as the Secretary to the Chief Commissioner of Customs, to send Chinese employers abroad for further studies, and to abolish the absolute power of the Chief Commissioner of Customs to dispose of the customs surplus. Customs duties were no longer deposited in the Bank of HSBC, but put into the central bank of the national government, so that the government could make full use of the funds. The tariff was revised, and so on. The immediate effect of the reform was that China's foreign trade and customs tariffs grew by leaps and bounds. After the national government customs administration succeeded in taking control of customs, Director Zhang began to conceive tariff autonomy negotiations again. He first raised the issue of customs tariff rules and import taxation system formulation and decided to adjust the tariff rates. Subsequently, he negotiated with various countries on the issue of Chinese tariff rates and finally reached an agreement. In July 1928, the Chinese government took the lead in signing the Sino-American Tariff Treaty with the United States and later signed Treaties of Friendship and Commerce, or tariff treaties, with Norway, Belgium, Italy, Denmark, Portugal, the Netherlands, Britain, Sweden, France, Spain, and other countries. By the year 1930, Japan also finally signed the Sino-Japanese Tariff Treaty. The new tariff set a new tariff rate of no more than 12.5%. After the new tariff was implemented, all tariffs were collected by customs. By 1933, the government of the Republic of China officially recovered its tariff autonomy, and the customs service of a country, once independent of the government, has since become a subordinate agency of the Ministry of Finance. The national government then adjusted the tax rate several times, so that the tariff revenue obtained played a huge role in national construction and the war effort. After this story is told, the power that the Republic of China government took back from foreigners after all the hard work has now morphed into a vault for the CCP government to maintain their oppressive rule and enrich their own pockets. The people of China not only have no right to ask where the money is going, but must listen to the bandit party's self-aggrandizing and shameless claims. We can only hope that the CCP will soon collapse and Chinese people will get their universal rights back. That's all for this episode. Please like and subscribe to our channel and share with your friends. See you next time.